Hey now, I have a question which you might not want to answer, so I have a backup question. But if you answer the first one, don't worry about the second one. The first question is, what is your most interesting or favorite drug experience ever? And if talking about that would involve too many specifics and you don't want to answer it, what is your favorite drug other than cannabis? Thanks.
Oh man. um, shit, that's a mouthful of a question. You asked what's my favorite and my most interesting drug experience, and the problem with that question is that those are two very different experiences. Most interesting and favorite. My favorite drug experience would probably be the time I lost my virginity, which was on ecstasy, um, intravenously injected ecstasy, no less. And I don't really feel like telling that story right now. Um, so I'll tell you about my most interesting drug experience, which would probably be the first time I tried mescaline. And yeah, I think it's the most interesting because it taught me the most about myself. And what I learned is that when the chips are down in a terrifying life-death situation, or at least what I believe to be one, I become a theist. And not only that, I prefer a female flavor to my deities. So I guess if I were a full-time theist, I'd worship Athena or something like that. Now I can already hear everybody chiming in, oh, you're a secret Christian. No, I'm not a secret Christian, asshole. If I shoved a gun in your mouth right now, I could make you swear that you were a Sikh or a Buddhist or whatever the fuck I tell you that you're going to be, or I'll pull the trigger and kill you. Human beings have a self-preservation instinct. And in a harrowing experience, that will kick in and you'll start to believe all kinds of crazy shit. The fact is, logic and reason have limits. It's called going out of your head. Now, I had like a near-death experience on this stuff, which I guess is pretty common for mescaline experiences at a high dose, and this was a really high dose. And my girlfriend at the time came home while I was tripping, and she realized what was going on. Uh, and she had a conversation with me, and I believed that I was talking to God. And I started asking her these questions, like, why am I here? And why did you make me? And things like that. And she gave me the answers that she believed would make me the most well-adjusted person. Like she said, oh, you're here because the world needed you, and so forth and etc. But, you know, it was a really interesting experience because what I gained from it was the realization that, you know, theists aren't evil. They're just cowards. They're just afraid. Because during that trip I was convinced that I was dying. And my mind just kind of went into this self-preservation mode where it's like, okay, I'll believe anything that allows me to exist for one more fraction of a second. And the deeper insight that I took from that is that theists are fearful people. They experience that same fear at a lower level all the time. And if you actually talk to a theist, that theory bears out. Like, you'll find that they're just bags of insecurity that they're always thinking about. Death and their place in the universe and yada yada yada. Those just aren't questions that bother me while I go about my day. So, yeah, mescaline is a harrowing experience, and I wouldn't recommend it to any but the most experienced junkies. But if you ever want to learn about yourself, it's definitely the one to do. Now you asked a multi-part question. What was the second part? Because you know, I'm making exceptions for that right and left, so I might as well do an exception in your case. What was your multi-part? Oh, you said what's your favorite drug besides cannabis? I guess I would have to say ecstasy, and I wouldn't recommend doing it regularly. In fact, I'd say put like a 5-use cap on it. You know, do it 5 times and then never touch it again. But I will say this. If you die without having tried MDMA once, you wasted your life. It's that significant of an experience. So there's your answer. How long before the YouTube atheism movement, and I was the first one to call it that, by the way, boy do I regret the fuck out of that, how long before that implodes and the shitbees accept the futility or whatever, it's never going to reach crush depth. They could keep going forever. And in fact, if we were to wake up tomorrow in a completely secular world, with no organized religion of any kind, they'd still roll right along and keep doing what they're doing. They'd just get their kicks telling atheists that they aren't atheistic enough, or that they make atheism look bad, and all that other dumb shit they say. You know, if you want a quick definition of those people in a nutshell, they're atheists that behave like theists. What else can you really fucking call them? There's a lot of submission to authority, there's a lot of, you know, kind of enforcing the status quo on people that dare to break rank. I mean, it's just, it's all the fucking behavior that I would think turned them off to religion in the first place, and it's just fucking stupid. I wish they'd go away, but they won't, because that's human nature, and it doesn't go away. There's your answer.
Alright, I couldn't choose between 2 questions, so you can answer whichever you want. First one would be, what are your views on legalization of pot? For and against? Why would be nice? And the second question is, with all the drama going on between you and TJ, do you think your friendship with Cody will suffer?
Where do I stand on the legalization of pot? Against it. And I have a lot of reasons for that, but before I go into them, I will say I'm all for reforming the drug laws. I think, you know, somebody going up for like a 20 or 30 year sentence for anything related to pot is completely outrageous. And that's just something that needs to change. Do I think it should be out and out legalized across the board? No. You know, the biggest argument that you hear from pro-legalization advocates is that, well, alcohol is legal, and look at all the problems that causes. Car wrecks, violence, you know, this and that. Well, look at how much comparatively safer weed is to that. What a fucking shitty argument. You're not arguing for legalizing pot, you're arguing against alcohol being legal, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, that argument has me saying, let's go back to prohibition, you know, fuck pot. But, no, I don't really think pot should be legal. There are some, you know, minor concerns I would have with that, and those are that there's a pretty big percentage of the people who try it that will take it overboard and just never fucking do anything but sit around smoking it. I think it'll hurt our economy. And yeah, is there a percentage of drinkers who are problem drinkers? Yeah, there are. And that's a separate issue. It's a separate problem that should be addressed. But that isn't my main reason that I don't think pot should be legalized. And this is my main reason.